What's up, guys? Welcome back to number 18, the Whitetail Obsession podcast. Chris, did you have some frost in your window this morning?
Not this morning, but yesterday I had a really hard frost.
Mm. And what do you think that's going to do to the guys that jumped the gun and planted early again?
Well, it depends on what they planted, but you know the
Well,
usual,
your
the typical,
typical
yeah,
annuals.
your typical spring guys are planting buckwheats and things,
Hmm.
and we know buckwheat don't like frost. So guess what's going to happen to their buckwheat?
Probably turn yellow and die.
And about what 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, we told them to do what?
Wait.
Absolutely.
Well, people do it every year. They get excited, and because we get those warm temperatures. It happens every year. You get those warm temperatures kind of in March and April, and people think it's time to plant, but it's
Yeah.
it's not because traditionally it's not ready until, I mean, depending what state you're in, but where we're at, Maryland, PA, that kind of area, I mean, you're not looking. I'm not planting the farm until June.
Yeah.
You know what
I
I mean?
I figured the screening incognito and things like that.
Yeah.
Uh, First week of June, I'll probably start on that stuff, prepping everything.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna get too excited because I'm not really planting anything but my screening
Right.
in the summertime.
Yeah. All I got's going in is screening this for the spring.
I'm gonna literally wait till mid-August probably to start even thinking about fall.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, you know what I did last year? I did start. I waited really long time to get my fall stuff in, which was great. Palatability and attractability, it was awesome. But it was a mental thing. I never got to see my plot like higher than this
Hmm.
because as soon as it got this high, they came in and would mow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would just eat it down to lip high. So I never got to see my plots any higher than about 6 inches.
Hmm.
Now I had some bombshell and showstopper mixed in front of me, in front of my tree stand there, and that came up, made it about a foot. But man, when they started bringing all their buddies into that buffet, they ate it down pretty low.
Well, that showstopper is all them hybrid
Yeah,
brassicas.
yeah, it's a
So I
good
guess,
thing.
like I said, held up a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It held the pressure. It really did all the way through archery season for sure. Uh, but yeah, I couldn't believe. I mean, I did the right thing, no doubt. It was attractable, very attractable, but
Hmm. Well,
like I said,
young
it's
and tender.
yeah, but it was kind of a mental thing because here I am sitting here over my plot and it's this high
Hmm.
and there's tons of deer in it, but yet I didn't get to take all of those trophy photos of my plot all manicured and looking pretty.
Right.
Everybody was sending in pictures of their plots. I couldn't even submit any pictures to the domain because I didn't have much to show except
Well,
a plot full of deer,
yeah.
you know.
There's a balance, dude. There's a thing where people want to plant really early, the brassicas and stuff, to get those giant bulbs and giant leaves. But think of that when you try to bite into it. It's the giant leaves on there are woody and stemmy, and it.
Yeah,
If we don't like that, a deer's not going to like it. But we like that young lettuce, real soft and tender. So there's a balance to it. But obviously the young and tender, the deer are going to prefer that more. But when you do that again, then you don't get as many bulbs, and or as bigger
yeah,
bulbs, which could be a good thing as well because if you get too big of bulbs, they kind of get bitter,
yeah.
because they're so big. So, but there's a balance to it all.
I actually like to plant a little bit heavy for the stem count.
Hmm.
I don't want to see any bare dirt.
Right.
I like to maximize my plot for stem count, for fullness,
Hmm.
all that tonnage. I'm not so worried about the bulbs
Right.
because I've got 18 acres behind the plot that's nothing but forbs and weeds and grass. And there's clover mixed in that too. I mean, they can eat anywhere they want out there. It's free
Hmm.
for the taking. So they're not lacking any food, you know. Uh,
Well, do you want to attract them and be able to hunt them early season, or do your main focus is to feed them later into the January and
correct.
February months with the big
Correct.
bulbs?
And that's the point I'm making.
Right.
People need to make the choice of what they want.
Have a plan.
My plan was to always my plan is over there is I only plant right along the wood line about 2 acres for
Hmm.
attractability because
Hmm.
that's where I shoot does. We
Yeah,
uh,
you're
we
trying.
we have a doe problem here. I mean, a huge doe problem. I mean, I've sent you pictures and I'm snapping pictures all around the house. I mean, at some point we've had 14 deer standing in the yard.
Well, you have all them camps and everything, and it's kind of small patches of woods, I guess, because it's not really big timber there, I guess.
Not really.
Um, and all them camps and everything, all them deer just pack in there.
I mean, there is 30 acres below me of
But
woods.
well, yeah, but
Mm.
that's still a small,
But
relatively small section.
they're still kind of herded up yet too.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
From winter time,
Hmm.
they haven't really all dispersed yet. Still
Anything
kind of.
anything green, they're gonna all flock to
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah. Even the grass. I mean, just the grasses in the yard.
Yeah, probably
Uh,
back
that,
there finding little sprigs of clover in
yeah,
your
I'm
in
sure
your
they
lawn
are.
and stuff.
I'm sure they are. Because man, when I planted this this yard when we put the house in, we seeded it. I seeded it down, and then my father-in-law was like, "Yeah, I got these old bales. Hey, we'll sprinkle them out." Well, he just bailed them off his field.
Hmm.
They sat for a year or so, but we spread them all out. Who knows, man? I had Timothy growing in my yard. I had uh, clover. I had probably every type of crabgrass there is, or something. I had all kind of junk in there too. Uh,
Dandelions.
I had some of those. I mean, you could have grazed a horse or a cow out here in my yard, and they would have been happy.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, it basically was like horse feed, you know, from his field there.
Yeah. So, a couple things. I had a couple people messaging me over the weekend, because we
Panicking.
had, yeah, panicking because they planted their buckwheat, they planted Egyptian wheat, whatever it was, and now we're in this cold snap
Yeah.
where, I mean, we didn't get the frost here, but it was like 34 degrees,
Mm,
and when you get down in them cold days like that, that stuff's just not going to last.
yeah.
So again, people jump the gun. We get those warm temperatures. So if anybody's listening now and they're thinking about planting, know know your area, know when your last frost is, and like I think we mentioned this like four or so podcasts ago, but a simple Google search will tell you when your last frost is. Just punch it in your area. There's multiple websites that'll give you, a general, time frame when your last frost is. Maryland here, where I'm at, it's May the 15th. Further north you go up, obviously that date is going to be pushed forward a little bit. Might be the end of May, early June. But just know that and plant according to that.
Right.
Not just because you have a few warm days in March and April, because
Well,
you're going to run into issues.
you know me, I like to spit facts. So let me tell you a few things.
You ain't got no facts.
I've got facts.
You're
Plants.
throwing you're throwing something on here, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Nah, you're safe. I'm not gonna trick you into any questions like you always do to me. plants plants are about 80% water
Right.
content, okay? So if you drop below the freezing point, what actually happens is the cell walls freeze and burst like a plastic pipe would,
Hmm.
literally. They will freeze and burst, and that'll cause termination, obviously. Um, a a f- I don't want to say a fix for all that, but what would help your plots when it dips down this cold like it does is if you did a proper soil test and you had your fertilization on point. the potash in your fertilization, if it's on point, that's like the antifreeze for your plants. Did you know that?
I did.
Because I told you.
No, I knew that.
Because you watched my video on it.
Uh,
So,
keep
so,
telling yourself that.
so anyhow, yeah. If the people, and there's another good reason to do soil tests.
Yeah.
I mean, if you planned ahead and you had your soil mended from last year, or you started a system this spring already,
Hmm.
and they had their potash right, they may not have any terminal damage to their plants. But
Hmm.
if they're not on point and they planted too early, guess what?
Did.
Uh, uh,
Well,
uh.
think of it this way: natural browse that's out there is there year round, so it learns and adapts to conditions, and it can handle a lot more of that stress because it's there 24/7. When you plant a freshly, when you plant a seed and it's becoming, a fresh tender plant, that plant is you have to baby it. So if you get those cold temperatures or lack of rain or whatever it is, that plant, being that it's so tender and young, it's going to struggle. But like you said, if those nutrients are there to help protect that plant, it's not a cure all, but it could help it get through those harsh times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get those harsh times of drought or cold temperatures, things like that. A proper, good soil will help get it along, baby it along.
I didn't even, looking at it from a different standpoint too. Like if you don't know your soils, uh, if you didn't do the soil sample and you don't know what your recommendation should be or whatever, uh, if you're just out there dumping fertilizer on your soil, like a lot of that stuff has the fillers in it,
Hmm. Yeah.
which is salts anyhow. So like that might actually help in this instance, keep stuff from freezing.
Hmm.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
It might help.
Possible.
There's no real proof of that.
Hmm.
But salt and the ice doesn't mix, so yeah,
Possible. Look it up.
it might help. Who knows? I'm on to
Ask
something.
ask the pros.
I'm on to something.
Ask the pros.
Who would that be?
I don't know because nobody's a pro. Everybody's still learning,
Yeah, yeah,
except me. I'm a pro.
yeah. You're famous.
Um. So, so I was at my farm last weekend, and remember I texted you on the way back. I said it's snowing.
Oh, it was.
It was snowing Saturday or Sunday. But I did get a lot done. I set a bunch of trail cameras out for turkey season because turkey season starts this Saturday.
Ah,
I actually got to mow my fields,
nice.
the clover plots. Got to mow them. They were up this tall. They had some brassicas that actually kind of regrew. So I ended up going through with the finish cut mower that I repaired 19 times and got that all mowed off. Some trail, like I said, some trail cameras switched around. So I'm ready for turkey season. You going out Saturday?
If it's not pouring,
Yeah, I keep watching the weather.
we're expecting some nasty weather.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's going to be chilly.
Yep. I have
Um,
one last consulting trip on Sunday. Uh, as long as it's not a monsoon, that's going to be my last one for the year.
well, I as well mowed my plots. I had an old tractor here I was working on, and I got it
Hmm.
running, and it has a belly mower under it, and it lifts nice and high off the ground, so that's going to come in handy for summertime when I want to mow clover, or
Hmm.
mow over top of clover for any weeds that I might get. Because if it's not real bad weedy, I might just let it ride and
Yeah.
not use any spray, any
Hmm.
IMOX. If I can handle it with mowing, I'll just mow it. I won't waste my IMOX.
I get ever since I made a video about IMOX 2 years ago, I get so many questions about IMOX.
Oh yeah,
It is literally the, what do you call it? It's literally it's the I don't know I don't know, but it's good stuff.
It's gaining traction.
Yeah, it's gaining traction. But anyway, if anybody's looking at this for clover and chicory, it's 7 to 9 ounces of IMOX per acre. Don't care how much water you got, 25 gallons, whatever it is. As long as you get the 7 to 9 ounces on there per acre, it kills the broadleafs and grasses in that clover plot. But you have to hit it young. You can't go in there when the weeds are 15, 20 inches tall, because
Right.
it's not like it's not that potent. But if you get them young, it really controls them in there, and you'll have a beautiful clover plot.
Well,
It's all
what
it's
if you
all
mowed it and waited for it to start growing again and then sprayed it?
you could do that.
You could do that
Yeah,
just like any
definitely.
other just like any other spray.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. But if you get it in that early spring,
Yeah,
if you can catch it. If not, if it
for
gets too
sure.
big, then you just you can mow it. But
Yeah, for sure.
it works really good.
Yeah, I mean, I had watched a celebrity was using it all the time, and
Hmm.
then you said you was going to try it, and you did, and you said you had good results, so you gave me a little bit of it,
Hmm.
enough to make a spray tank full,
I poured you
and
some in a water bottle.
in an actual water bottle
Hmm. In a parking lot.
in a parking lot, and I brought it home and threw it in the tank and mixed it,
Hmm.
and I took it out and sprayed, and it took like, I don't know, 10 days probably.
Turn brown.
But then I was thinking, oh man, this stuff ain't working, you know. But after about the 11th day, yep, everything started to curl up, and I went out and mowed over top the clover, and oh my gosh,
Hmm.
once the once I got all that junk out from over top of the clover, and the next rain we got, and we got a little bit of sun, some heat on it, oh my gosh, it really flourished. It did do a good job. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So I bought myself a jug. I meant
How
to
much
say.
was that?
It cost me. It was $79, I believe, but with tax and delivery and everything, it was a little bit under $100.
Yeah.
You know.
But it'll last. I mean, and I like it because it's all built into one.
Yeah.
It controls your grasses and broadleaves.
Right.
You don't have to use two different chemicals. That's why I like it.
Let me grab it. Say something while I'm gone.
He's going to go get it. So as he's going to go get that again with this early planting, you guys have to be careful not to plant too early. I can't emphasize that enough. I get questions about it over and over every single year, and where guys are planting too early and that stuff, it just dies. So you have to wait for it.
I'm back.
He's back.
This is what it looks like.
I got the same stuff. Yep.
Okay. I mean, it actually has a squeeze part where you can fill up these
Yeah.
that little portion there. But
Yep. 7 to 9 ounces. Be good to
I'm not
go.
gonna waste my time with that
Nah,
because
just pour it. Just measure it out.
you could just measure it out. I mean, there's all kind of measurements on the side. And
Show it again so the viewers can actually see it, what it looks like. There you go, guys. IMOX. If you're worried about the weeds and grasses, if mowing is not working, hit it with the IMOX and then mow it about 2 weeks later, 15 days later, and you will
yep,
be golden.
yep.
I'm gonna
Amazamox is the actual ammonium salt of amazamox
okay.
is actually what it's called. And
I'm
you can
gonna
find this at, I think it was Keystone Pest website. I think you can find it there.
That's where I bought mine.
Yeah, I think that's where I ordered it from.
I'm gonna hit you with a question here.
Hit me.
Just had a guy submit it. You ready?
Do it.
This goes out to Owen.
Owen.
He says, should I get my first year clover woods plot planted before the leaf canopy forms?
Um,
We can both answer that.
yeah, That
Give Owen
sound well,
give
that
Owen some advice here.
Owen, that sounds great, but if it's the first year and you just cleared it off, you're gonna have a lot of competition. Because once that sun hits the plot, if you've got enough sunlight, you're going to have a lot of competition to deal with.
Mhm.
So the first year, I would worry about weed control, and I would wait till the second year to really concentrate, or this fall, I should say. I would when you have less competition coming, get it under control this summer, plant your clover in the fall so that it gets established in the spring, and then in the spring it'll really pop, and you can overseed it and frost seed it next spring coming.
Mhm.
That would be what I would tell somebody, because first time plots are rough. But yeah, that would be the time, is before the canopy starts, to frost seed in the spring
Mhm.
for
I
sure.
think what Owen's asking is, or what he's worried about is, he specified before the leaf canopy, closes,
Right.
which to me, he's worried about sunlight. And if he can get that clover on the ground, before the leaves are on, the sun can get in and get it to grow. But
Hmm.
what happens when they actually do form, um, then you have no sun. Then
Yeah,
then your plants are going to die.
you have no photosynthesis happening.
So my my suggestion to Owen would be to understand that, yeah, you could get it in there and it could grow a little bit before the canopy comes out. But once that canopy closes up, you're most likely not going to have a very good food plot. You have to get sun in there. There's no seed that's going to grow in the shade. There's some shade tolerant stuff, but even then, you still need filtered, sun. You got to have sun in there. It's another major failure in food plots with the guys trying to do it in the woods, and
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
unless
So
unless he has a big clearing,
yeah,
which
we don't know.
we don't know that, but it sounds like, from like you said, the way he's talking about getting it before the
He's worried about
canopy.
sun. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's what it's going to do, is pop up yellow
yeah,
and wilt.
yeah. Another thing too with that is, if the canopy's not out yet, means the temperatures aren't warm enough. So he puts that clover seed in there. It's not even
It's
going to
it's just going
germinate.
to sit there. Yeah, it's just going
You
to
know,
sit there till ground temperatures over
right?
50s.
I mean, we have
Yeah.
here in Maryland, we have everything's canopied out. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's everything's green. I mean, we're good to, it's full bloom. I don't know where he's at. Sounds like he's way out, in the north somewhere, um, north central or something. But um, yeah, I'd be worried about sunlight for that. It
For sure.
might be a big fail.
Yeah, for sure. If that's true, he needs to take out some trees and make sure he has enough sunlight.
Hmm.
But then, like I said, that opens you up to the weed problem. Because
Definitely.
as soon as he lets the sunshine in, if he's done, if he's getting ready to plant and he has all that raked off or whatever,
Hmm.
he's gonna have so much trouble and frustration the first year.
Hmm.
You know, and like I said, we don't necessarily want to use this stuff, but when you're out of control, you need to do something to get it under control.
Yep.
And then once you get it under control, well, then you can think about your future.
Definitely. So we got another question here, that came in from, this is from John. He says, for a quarter acre food plot with nothing planted in it for 20 years. So
Okay.
nothing there for 20 years. Only wild grasses that's growing. When should he round up? When I frost seed? That's what he's asking. So it sounds like he wants to frost seed some clover into these standing existing grasses and
Mhm.
then come back through with Roundup and kill it all. You
I
want me to go
do.
first or you want to go
Well,
first?
you go first this time.
Um, I've done this, I've tried it, and it can work. But the problem is, in a lot of situations like that, especially if it's 20 years, untouched, you're going to have a lot of duff covering the soil. So when you frost seed or when you seed into that standing material, those seeds aren't going to hit the bare dirt. Now, in a situation like that, if there was exposed soil, he could definitely frost seed into it, spray it, and it's going to kill the grasses and allow the clovers to come back up through. That could work. So in that situation, John, I would say that the best situation would be to look at it. If you see exposed soil, then you could do it. If not, it's a waste of time.
Well, you was here, you helped. I did a whole series called Pasture to Plot, and
Hmm.
my father-in-law had a field over here that was nothing but horse pasture for 20 years.
Hmm.
And I took 2 acres of it, which I now claim as my destination plots, and I do videos, shoot videos and stuff there for the channel. Uh, we went in first and sprayed
Hmm.
and tried to kill everything down, and then I went in and ran the cultivators through it and tore it
Hmm.
all up, and then went back a week later and disked it, and came back a week later after that. So I took it in 3 weeks uh, increments, and I just kept disking it every week. That way, the reasoning behind that was anything that may have popped up and started to take off, as far as weeds or anything, I would just uproot it then and let the sun bake it. Well, now's about the time we're going to get all the hate mail from the no-till guys saying that I
Hmm.
ruined the biome and all the earthworms by doing this so much.
You killed 2 worms.
I killed the worms, and I ruined the soil because I cooked it with the sun.
Yeah,
You know,
you aerated it.
but how about the farmers that plow after they harvest their field before the winter's even started,
Hmm.
and it sits in dirt all winter, all spring until they plant something in it, like where you're
Yeah,
at the lease, right?
yeah,
The farmers there. There's nothing. There's not a stitch of anything in them fields,
nothing,
right? Nothing.
nothing.
Nothing there.
He's gonna come back through. He'll come back in and probably end of May and mid May. He'll come back in and no till his corn and beans again.
Oh,
And
but he cooked the soil because it was bare dirt and the sun
yeah,
beat down and heated it up,
hmm,
and there's no biome left. He killed it all.
yeah.
That dirty farmer.
I do wish he used a cover crop though.
Oh, I agree. He should.
100% he should use a cover crop.
Somebody should have something growing
Yeah,
all year.
that's the key too, is to have something in there growing year round, whether you disc or not. If
Yeah,
you're just
you're
no
gonna
tilling,
for no other reasons you could
yeah,
just to have something in the soil growing and
hmm,
keeping that soil alive,
having a root structure.
having that root structure, the water infiltration, you know, a biome.
Hmm. Yeah,
But to have something there, and you're gonna avoid um, erosion,
runoff. Yeah,
runoff and erosion, and just to have something living
yeah,
is attractable.
yeah.
You know?
I like to have that green in there so I can actually turn that green back into the soil and incorporate it in instead of it sitting on top.
Yeah.
I want it in the soil because
Moldboard
those,
plow. You want a moldboard plow?
yeah, I do. I wish I could. That'd be fun.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm thinking about doing
I
it
would do
one
it.
year.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Just flip the soil. I mean, not go down a foot, but
No.
maybe like 6 or 8 inches or something. Just flip it,
Hmm.
roll it over, and then run the discs over it,
Yep.
and you're ready to plant.
I would love to
That's
do
what
that.
that's what these farmers do.
It's what they've done since biblical times.
Biblical. Yep.
All right.
I'm
I,
thinking about doing that
I would do
sometime.
it. Yeah. Try it out.
What
You
are you
got the
doing? You're
you
switching
got the
gears.
you got the beast of the tractor to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You know
can
what
do
gear
that.
I'm in?
What gear
I'm
you in?
I'm in park. I'm out of here.
You parking?
Yep. I appreciate you guys listening. And real quick, I was just telling Chris before the podcast started, I think the views were up like 200 and some percent on the audio podcasts,
Ooh,
Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. So appreciate you guys listening.
nice.
Give us some comments on the audio on if you're listening to it on Spotify and Apple. I like to see those comments. I think we had like 2 more come in.
Yeah.
So drop a comment on there. Give us some questions if you have any. Listener submitted questions. We'll answer them for you, help you out, and I guess we'll see you guys on number 19.
Yeah. I've been getting comments on the video side.
Yeah,
It's fun to see.
yeah, it's good.
I like that interaction. Means
Yeah,
people watching and paying attention.
that's right.
See you guys later. Do some subscribing.
Later.
See you later.
Wait to plant.